Hey, Jared.
Hey, Josh.
Why did the baby miss its due date?
This is very, very specific. Okay. Why did the baby miss its due date?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it heard about all the great womb service and didn't want to check out yet.
No, come on. All right, I would have never guessed that.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time. I'm your host, Josh. And Jared, next week isn't good for me. The Jonas Brothers are in town.
Yeah.
This is my co-host, Jared.
Josh, I have a really great personality once you get to know me. I got 90 friends on Facebook. 12 of them are pending, but I've got 90 friends.
That's great. That was definitely one that I was going to use.
Yeah.
I loved that one.
Yeah.
The only thing would have been better is if it was like MySpace instead of Facebook.
Yeah, I know. It's a little later. This is peak Facebook time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. So today we are discussing the film Due Date by Todd Phillips. This movie came out in 2010. Rated R. Hour and 35 minutes.
God bless Todd Phillips getting those run times.
Keeping
them tight.
Yep. Our synopsis. High-strung father-to-be Peter Hyman is forced to hitch a ride with aspiring actor Ethan Tremblay on a road trip in order to make it to his child's birth on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another one that's only a year after
Yeah.
Hangover?
Yeah. Cranking them out.
I wonder if how much time is in between these when it's a movie just coming out a year later. Because there's no way they did that all in a year.
Well, something like this. I mean, some of these films, you can film them pretty quick.
I guess so, yeah.
Especially this stuff that's...
It's not quite as big of a film, yeah.
All right, so obviously Todd Phillips is our director. Writers are John Lucas and Scott Moore. So there's some other people that he hasn't collaborated with before on this. They were I think writers, both of them writers on King of the Hill or something. Like there's some
nice
cartoon
King of the Hill,
comedy show or something like that. We got Lawrence Sher as our cinematographer again.
Same guy
for last time. Yep. Of course, Christoph Beck again for the music, the composer.
Mm-hmm.
Production cost $65 million. That's almost twice as much as
The Hangover.
The Hangover was 35.
Well, I'll give you one answer. It's 2010, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Right?
That's probably part of it. And all the locations. Like they definitely had to
I guess so.
film. I mean, some of the stuff you could fake a little bit and but they definitely had to go. I mean, they went to the Grand Canyon. Let's green screen that, right?
No, that looked like they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm just thinking Iron Man was 2007. So there was at least two was the Avengers out too then?
I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Some of it's got to be the
he's probably asked for a lot, or he is how much they paid him was probably half that. No, not half, but I don't know, maybe. I have no idea what
I don't know
what the costs are.
So speaking of cast, yes, we have Robert Downey Jr., Zach Galifianakis again.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Monaghan. You don't say the G on that, right?
Yeah, Monaghan. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx, Juliette Lewis, Danny McBride, Matt Walsh, Todd Phillips, Keegan-Michael Key, John Cryer, and Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm. The only one in here is RZA from Wu-Tang is in the security at the airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't recognize that person.
Yeah. Well, it's like one very short scene. I mean, like some of these others too. It's like they're barely in it.
Yeah.
Todd Phillips is credited as Barry. Oh, it's actually he had a bigger role in this. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy with Juliet Lewis.
Yeah, he was like renting
He
a
actually
room.
had
He had like a
lines.
line.
Yeah, a few lines. Yeah.
It's like renting the room or something. Yeah. Yep. He had more of a role than Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts. What had you seen this movie before?
Yes, but I didn't remember a lot. So I was thinking about it. I think this is probably another one I only saw once.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all. I saw it once. As well.
Because I remembered very little, but I did remember some. So I think it was that deal. So you the same one time probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really remember much.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. The chemistry between the two of them, Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis, was really good.
Yeah.
Similar to The Hangover. Robert Downey Jr. is just, well, I mean, we already know Zach Galifianakis, how good he is with comedy, but Robert Downey Jr. also, even in Iron Man, like he's serious at times, but he's he's very good with humor too, and they play off each other well in this movie, I thought. It wasn't like we were just mentioning, there's not quite as many jokes, especially like per minute, like The Hangover, but there were still some really funny moments in this. And I like the story of this, the plot. Like, it's very simple. Another road trip movie basically that he's doing. So yeah, it was fun. What about you?
Yeah, it was fun. I just put, the only thing was, it did get annoying sometimes because basically both of the leads are not necessarily likable characters.
Right.
They're both kind of
them as
obnoxious
people. Yeah.
They're both kind of obnoxious in their own way, and so like you don't even have like the other person, which is kind of, again, I think why you were saying like doesn't have as much, because it's like it is just two people basically most of the time, and you don't have like the third or fourth person in the group like you do in Hangover that would, or even going back to road trip, or there was a few more people, so you kind of can play off each other a little bit more, and kind of adds a little bit more dynamic. And these, it's really came down to just these two people.
Yeah.
Which then I had which I think, it's interesting. Like, I think there was, again, speaking to the talent of them, I think it's like it could have, like, the potential was there to be even better.
Yeah.
And then I had a thought, and then I was like, you watched this more recently, but what, like, comparing it to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I was thinking about that in this movie. Yeah.
Like, where you got two guys on a road trip. They're basic. So
there's a lot of crazy things happen to them on the way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how would you compare this film to that?
I mean, nothing touches Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
But I think with these two actors, I think with a even better script or something, like, I don't know, I don't want to blame just the writing, but like just to think, or maybe just lightning in a bottle, because let's just be honest, sometimes just everything clicks, and you end up with like this thing that like you never thought could be, and this, again, executed competently, everything's like fine, which makes it a fun movie to watch, whatever. But like for it to be like legendary, like Hangover or Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, it's like you almost need that magic to happen, right?
Yes.
And it just didn't have that. But I think there, with the cast at least, and definitely the director having already done that once, there was the potential for it to be there.
Yeah, I think I imagine and maybe there'll be something in trivia, but I imagine Todd Phillips had Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in mind. Like anyone that's making a movie like this, I'm sure they think about that because it's the most iconic. But when you talk about that movie, it's I think it's John Hughes, right? So it's like one of the best director slash writers. I don't know if he directed that one because he didn't direct that much, but he wrote like so many great movies.
Half the films in the 80s.
Basically, yeah. And then you have the two actors too in that are I was going to say Steve Carell. That was wrong. Steve Martin and
Yes.
different Steve and John Candy, which especially John Candy
Yes.
was one of the best. He's up there with Chris Farley, I would say, and some of those others like that. But yeah, like that is like this, like you said, to a higher level. So maybe if Todd Phillips did another one, which like another of this specific kind of movie, which I don't think he has any more of these. Like we're gonna do two other Hangover movies after this, but something this close to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, probably maybe he could get there.
Yeah.
After having more experience with this.
So if you were casting this now, who would be the two people?
Oh, that's a great question.
Now it's 15 years later.
So in 2024,
like who's a specifically, I mean, both are critical, but like
they have to play off of each other well too, though.
Yep. And the Zach Galifianakis character, you need somebody that can be not, because like, I mean, he does pull us off at some level. It's just like somebody that can be obnoxious and annoying, but yet you don't hate them. Right?
Yeah, it literally is the same dynamic as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because like Steve Martin, way more mean.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like him as much.
Yep.
And then John Candy's the way more lovable, like goof.
Yep.
So yeah, it's the same dynamic. I'm trying to think. There's not as many of these actors. Well, I guess in movies, I would say you'd have to kind of go to TV, I think, and find them.
No, we'll just do it with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
Well, they kind of just did that in some ways, just in a multiverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They could have been.
They could do that. Yeah. Well, let's think outside that though.
Okay.
Well, let's think outside that.
So you're saying TV?
Well, I was thinking like more comedic because I feel like right now, like actors that aren't super old and are big right now, I feel like there's not as many comedic actors that are movie stars.
Right, because they're not making as many comedies.
They don't make these kind of movies.
Vince Vaughn has like that. Have you seen that going around? Or he talks about why?
No.
Yeah.
What was it was an interview?
Yeah, it was an interview recently, and I didn't read thoroughly. I just saw like the headlines, but talking about why, because of I guess some of the more wokeness, like the R-rated comedies and stuff, are not getting made anymore.
Well, and studios just don't want to, right?
Course,
that was
again, Deadpool and Wolverine R-rated, but yeah. So yeah, there's less. You're right. There's I feel like there's more comedy on TV.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, oh, it'd be hard because I kind of almost would want to pick two people from the same show, but I was thinking of someone like Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny, who plays Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm thinking like, oh, well, you could just pick one of the other ones too from It's Always Sunny because they play off of each other so well. But I'm trying to think of someone outside of that. But like him as the Robert Downey Jr. character / Steve Martin character, because he kind of has a thing. He's way more intense though.
Yeah.
But I think that would be great in this kind of movie. But like someone for the other character, I don't know. And does it need to be two guys?
Hmm.
Because that's immediately what I was going to, but I don't know.
Well,
Would the dynamic be different?
you just do it with 2 women.
Well, the dynamic would be different then too.
Yeah.
So that's what they would do now. For
Yeah.
sure. It would be
Yeah.
2 women.
That's right. So so who would be the women? That's they did that. What was it? That one? I don't know if I even saw it. I remember it was reviewed pretty bad, where it had Jenny McCarthy and Jason Bateman and like a
yeah. That doesn't work. I mean, I don't really think she's that funny. I mean, I love Jason Bateman, but
yeah.
But
who's some of the, trying to think of what well, you definitely could use what's her name in Shrinking. That's the guy writer, like she was in Scrubs and she's like, what's her name? She would work as like the
she'd be good.
Yeah. But then you need the lovable goof.
I know. I don't know who's like famous right now for that can play that well.
Yeah. Well,
not sure.
Write in if you have ideas for male or female. Like, who would you cast in a new remake of this type of film, this road trip?
Well,
film.
I feel like the movie you just mentioned, and then I think there's been some others that I haven't even seen, but have been recent movies that are kind of this kind of movie, but I guess maybe more of a buddy cop kind of movie, but it's just not as good anymore. I don't know. A lot of the new ones.
Yeah. I feel like you would do there was one with one of the wrestlers, either John Cena.
Yeah, because I feel like Kevin Hart's been in a lot of those kind of movies. You know what I mean?
Well, there's one with what's his name from
Batista, right?
It was Batista and Silicon Valley guy. That's also
Kumail. Yeah, Kumail.
There was one because it was like called Uber or something like it.
Yeah, and I heard that one wasn't that good either. I haven't seen it, but
we watched it. It was all right. It wasn't great, but it was also it wasn't terrible. It had some funny moments. But I don't know.
Well, I'm interested in, so whatever Vince Vaughn was saying in this interview, because I definitely agree. So I've been thinking that for a while. These kind of movies, they don't make anymore. And I'm wondering if he said that, or do you think like there's going to be a comeback in them? Because I think there will eventually. I don't know when. But do you think they'll come back eventually? You think studios will want to do that?
Probably. I mean, like it's things always go in cycles. It seems like.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, let's get into this film. All right. So what's some of those things you liked? I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's start out strong with the end with the airport stuff.
Yes.
I think we start out really strong, even with like the whole luggage mishap, and no, it's kind of a little ridiculous that he gets the whole situation with TSA, and then he gets like put on the
no-fly list.
No-fly list.
Yeah.
Just because there's a mix-up and then like how things transpire there in the first class or whatever, business class.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff that you have to exaggerate for a movie.
Yeah. Like, they're like, why did you loop him in here? I mean, like, I think a normal situation would have been, but it still was funny when he gets shot by the rubber bullets. But
yeah, I thought the beginning part. This is one of my first notes. When Peter's about to get out of his car and the whole door just gets destroyed. And like I didn't think about that much, but I'm like, man, that actually could happen when you're just trying to get out of a car. I was thinking about it when I was watching the movie. I'm like, that's pretty terrifying. That you just swipe by and just destroy the whole door, and like, if you're 1 second too late, it's
for sure. I feel like though, like normally at airports, like it's so backed up.
Yes,
no one's moving that fast, and you're opening. You're either on the curb, but if you're not on the curb, then there's a whole layer of vehicles that are on the curb, and
Yeah.
you're just one vehicle out. So
Yeah, no, normally no
now I
one's
guess
flying.
if you
at the-
opened it on the other side, like because you had like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It could still happen.
Yeah.
But so be careful if you're at the airport.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I thought that whole setup premise, which then of course they have to hitch a ride together, which forces them to go on this road trip.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your next?
It's kind of like right after that, because I think it starts. That's another point where it like continues to go at a really good pace. Basically, the first scene of Peter and Ethan, like in the car when they first start traveling together, like has some of the best banter between them. Like at that starting point, which I didn't write down everything they say.
Yeah.
But one of the things was Ethan saying he lost his virginity at 9 years old. That was just it just really got me. I was like, okay. But there was like several things that go back and forth in that scene that I think are really good.
He keeps asking questions.
Yes.
Because he's trying to get him to know him.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Peter's just like, I don't want to get that. I just want to be.
Yeah.
I like how Peter's definitely like, maybe think of Dad like, okay, we got to be efficient as possible here. We can't no downtime. We're going to get there.
Yep.
And of course, that doesn't go that way.
No,
doesn't go that way at all.
Nope.
The car crash.
Their car crash.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Their car crash. Just yeah. I mean, I think it's one. I mean, obviously, it's not a like probably really wouldn't happen, but at the same time, I think it was. That was like, okay, that's believable enough.
Yeah.
And then and the next thing you're upside down on the lower from the overpass. And thought that was like classic.
I did like how, because it does make sense why nothing really happens to Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
But like they explain how he's in a deep sleep, but it's like that is true. Like that you don't tense up. So like he was fine. Although even that whole wreck though, I feel like they would be in worse shape than what they were. Like all Peter is with his arm and that's it. Right? So you know like it's, I don't know, because that car crash, they show that whole thing and they land completely upside down at a long distance. So anyway, but
I don't know. I mean, cars these days are pretty resilient.
In 2010?
Well, even then, yeah, to protect.
I guess so, yeah.
To protect the driver. I know I maybe jumped over some stuff. I don't know what else you had.
No, I only got a couple other things that are, I think, kind of around the spot, and then I have just some stuff at the end. But one of the other scenes I really liked, actually, it was before the car crash. It was when they go to Waffle House.
Oh yes.
And he says, "Man, I shouldn't have come here. I'm allergic to waffles." I thought that was one of the other best lines of the movie.
I forgot about it.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah, it's so random and like obviously.
Right, but I love that. Way later in the movie, I think they bring it up again.
Yeah.
He's like, why did you want to go to a Waffle House then? So I like how they actually brought that back so much later that you would forget about it and you're like, oh yeah, that happened. That was good.
Yeah. So some of this like you can mix up what the order was. And,
yeah. It's just all the stuff that happens all in the retreat. Yeah.
So obviously the scene where they stop to get the weed for his glaucoma.
Yeah.
Dude, him with the kids.
Yeah, I have a note about that.
Peter with the kids. is great.
Mm-hmm.
So
when he punches the kid in the gut was so good.
because we've all been there.
Mm-hmm. But I
Oh,
wasn't expecting that to happen.
That kid
And he
that's
played
just-
it off so well too. It was
The kid is just so annoying.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
yeah, he warned him a lot too. He's like yeah.
But, no condoning actually hitting kids.
No. It was just it was great. It was very subtle too, but he did it, and then seeing them at the end, the kids are just like that was a good shot of the kids afterwards, like
Yeah.
when they're about to leave.
Yeah, they're all just like sitting, like, he's sitting on the
Mhm.
couch in the middle of them both. Yeah, that's good. And then, of course, this is where we get Todd Phillips with his biggest role yet.
Yeah. Yep. I like how he keeps bringing back Juliette Lewis too,
Yes.
because she's been in almost
It's been a bunch of them.
all these. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
She was not in The Hangover, right?
No.
No.
Yeah, that might be the only one she hasn't been.
Yeah. We'll
so
see if
far.
she's in 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
She might show
Yeah,
up.
she probably is in the hangar at some point.
Yeah.
I don't remember 2 or 3 hardly at all.
Me
so,
neither.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
I just know they are not as good as the first one.
Right. Of course, some of these, the other, I don't say, you want to say cameos or whatever, but Danny McBride and the,
Mm-hmm.
with the,
I love Danny McBride.
yeah.
He's one of my favorites. I didn't like his character as much in this than what he normally plays.
Right. Well, I think it was good.
I didn't think it was that funny.
Love the line about the reservations at whatever it was, Applebee's or Chili's or something.
Oh, with the boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the boys.
Yeah.
And then Ethan says, "Oh, that's a great idea because they do get a little busy on Wednesdays or whatever."
Yeah.
Like that was good. But then kind of how it played out with him. I mean, I get it. Like he was like making fun of him, and then he's actually in a wheelchair. He's a vet. Like that part, you're like, okay, that's. But then the way he just like starts rolling over them and like hitting him with his wheelchair.
Yeah, that part I was like, okay.
It's like, nah.
No.
Yeah.
I only have 2 things for basically at the end
Yeah.
left as far as notes.
Well, the other thing the stuff that
Oh, I do have one negative also at the top. I forgot to,
yeah.
but yeah.
I'll also say a couple things like
Mhm.
the detour into Mexico, like that whole thing I did not like.
That was the weakest part of the movie.
And then of course,
Yeah.
then
And it was long too.
yeah, and them like doing the car chase with the
Mhm.
stupid trailer, him pulling
Mhm.
like a, and it's like so unrealistic, like that thing
Yeah.
swerving all over the place, and him, like there's no way.
Yeah.
And then it flipping upside down and him surviving that. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
that was, Anyway, so I just didn't like that whole detour. That
I agree. No, that was definitely the weakest
Mhm.
part of the movie.
And then the other part I didn't care for was the stuff with his friend, and were they in Dallas or whatever? It was Jamie Foxx.
Oh, Jamie Foxx, yeah.
And like just like him, Peter getting all jealous, and
Mm-hmm.
like I was like, that doesn't track. Like the guy's so cocky and arrogant.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like I don't think he would get that insecure all of a sudden.
Especially that fast
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
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 But it was funny then that he makes coffee with the
Yeah, that was good.
because he's in the coffee, which is like to your point, bringing something full circle because they mentioned it earlier, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "You put him in a urn like a normal
Mhm.
person."
Yeah, it was a good setup.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it kind of set that up. So that was good. There, I do like the when he was giving him acting audition help.
Oh yeah.
That was funny.
With a different last name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the Grand Canyon
Yes.
scene.
Yep. That was my next note. Thought that scene was really good.
Yeah, it was. Really started. I wish we had more of this. Like, right, like a little bit more heart into it, because I feel like that's where I was like saying, like, I think it was too much where they were more annoying, obnoxious to the viewer, and not enough of this. Like, if you would have had this a little bit more sprinkled in, maybe would have given a little bit more to actually care about them both a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
We did the skip over the I skipped over, let me skip jumping around, but the the moment that he decides to leave him at the rest stop, that was good too.
It was.
And because then you had, like, he wanted to leave the urn, and he was gonna, and then, or not the urn, the coffee, but the ashes.
That was a good display of his character, because I was like, man, first of all, like, leaving him there, but then going there, and he almost thought about getting rid of the ashes too, all of that.
And then he comes back with coffee and donuts.
Yeah. That was a good line delivery, where he's like, oh, coffee and donuts.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Till they reveal later when they're
Exactly. Yeah.
both going off at each other trying to yeah. So then, I mean,
I just have for the ending, I just really like that they actually did a 2.5 Men scene
yes,
with Ethan. I like that a lot, but that was a good setup for that too, because they kind of mentioned that throughout most of the movie.
Yeah,
he brings that show up
as like a perfect show or whatever. Like,
yeah, and he was saying, or he like runs like a fan site or like a
yes. No, I do like the way kind of the closure of the ending where it's like, oh, they become best buds.
Yeah.
And then that scene and stuff, and even with him, like, kind of giving him a like tip to kind of go to his audition. Mm-hmm. It was good. It's funny when he burst into the wrong delivery room, and that's where we see.
I don't, because I was, like I said, a lot of stuff I don't remember from when I've watched it before, but like I was predicting that before that happened. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna walk in and it's just he's gonna see that.
But it was funny that we had Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, it's like the smallest cameo ever. It was like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
that's it. I was like, that's all we're gonna see of him. Yeah,
but I guess it was he. Then I don't remember, when did their show, the Key and Peele show? When was that?
That was before this. I think that was in the 2000s.
But then, like, okay, so then,
no, maybe around this
when
time.
did they start breaking out into like stuff? So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe he was not that well known then, and so it was just kind of like,
yeah, maybe
opportunity to get into something.
Yeah.
All right.
I have my last note, because I forgot about it. A negative of this movie is, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's some really bad ADR.
Oh.
Did you?
I did pick up on a few, like, where I was like, oh, that's not what they said.
Is like when they're first driving.
Yeah.
Because, like, I can forgive this in a lot of movies, because if it's like a split second cut scene, like shot, and then cuts to something else, to where someone's talking, you see their face, their mouth's not really moving, but if it's like a split second, whatever. This is the main one I'm talking about. It's shortly after they've been driving.
Mm-hmm.
And is it Yeah, Ethan's talking like a lot, and it just stays on the front of them, and he's not moving his mouth at all. For this shot is just showing like the front of the car. Um, it's like at least 10 seconds.
Noah.
That was the most egregious. I didn't really see it too many other times. But yeah, I just noticed that was the worst. And I noticed a couple other times that they lingered on something for like too long, which I feel like you would want to not do that. You know, even doing ADR for that, it's like if their mouth's not moving at all, like you can forgive it if it doesn't line up exactly right, because isn't that what normally happens?
Yeah.
So like I don't know. It was really noticeable in a few spots in this. So then I'm like wondering, like, do they get rushed for those kind of things? You know, like they didn't have much time and they really wanted that shot in it. You know, and I'm always curious how that works and why they would leave that in.
Sometimes it's, you know, maybe you're after filming and then like stuff's not landing, and so then you might change up the script a little bit, but you can't go reshoot it. You know, the budget to reshoot it, so then you just have them, and you try to find shots that allow you to swap it out. You know, but you know, obviously, you're willing to. Do you think it's the jokes or whatever is being said is better than having to do? Right. You know, like it's like the you got to figure out what's worth the worth the juice is worth the squeeze. Is that what they say?
Yeah, and they probably wouldn't have been able to do reshoots because Robert Downey Jr. was probably it was just all Marvel then. Yeah, like this was like probably a very small time where he's like, all right, I'm free, let's do this movie, and then that was it.
And now he's back.
Getting paid a whole lot more than even the full budget of this movie, I imagine, to play.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Actually, I think they did say what he got paid for Infinity War and Endgame. And I don't remember the number. It was crazy. And then you got to think, because from there you said he was never coming back. So you got to think astronomically higher than that even. Now that they're paying him.
I think they were talking about it on something I was listening to or reading, and they were talking about because the combination of his payment, because he's going to be in both of them, and then the two directors combined.
Oh, the Russos.
What they're getting paid for. It's something like that puts already at like $400 million just between like that, like starting out. Like you haven't done anything else.
Which was the budget for both Infinity War and Endgame, I think, right? We were talking about that $400 million, I think, for.
So it's crazy, but then you got to figure. I mean, those films they'll be.
So basically, probably double that with everything else. Is it going to be like $800 million?
Yeah, to do those.
It's probably $400 million per movie.
Yeah, but then they're both going to make over $1 billion. You know, easily. Yeah. So. Yeah, unless something crazy happens, like a pandemic.
Yeah, I bet that's going to be probably the most expensive movies. Like, are they going to break a record for like cost?
Maybe.
I bet that would do it.
Cool. So, cinematography. I mean, again, kind of like some of The Hangover.
Yeah,
similar. Competent, looks good, but there was nothing like amazingly like stand out.
I have just one shot.
Yeah,
there was like a pretty far like aerial shot of the Grand Canyon. I thought looked really good. You remember that? I guess it was like when it was when he threw the ashes. I like that shot a lot.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah,
that was my only one.
Yeah, but just good decent looking stuff, but nothing like.
It's hard to do. It's like this category and score both. For comedy movies, there's normally not a lot to talk about.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. That's the next thing.
But, I don't really have anything for score either.
All right. That's fun. Yeah, I don't remember it being anything.
No. And I always pay attention to it, especially in comedies where I'm like, how much are they actually doing in this? Because like we talked about before, a lot of times it's mostly just songs,
right,
and not a lot of score. But yeah, sometimes there is more, and there's exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, there's not. Yeah. There's not much going on.
Themes and messages.
I didn't write anything down for this.
What do you have thought? Any thoughts?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. What was the whole reason why he was just away on business, right?
Yeah, I think as far as
Because I'm like, don't be away when your wife's about to give
like close to
like
the
close
D-Day.
at all. It's like don't go out on business. But
How about don't go on road trips with strangers?
yeah, that too.
How about don't trust strangers? He had his wallet the whole
The
time.
whole time, yeah.
You had an extra pair of gloves this whole time.
I thought about that. Yeah, what was his reasoning? Just because he wanted a friend?
He's like, I didn't think you'd stick with me if you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do a little trivia. The first one, Alan Arkin filmed scenes as Peter's long lost father, but they did not make the final cut of the film.
Wow.
Who is that?
You would know if you saw it. Yeah.
No, I just said look at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That actually makes sense because that actor looks like Robert Downey Jr.'s dad. They look very similar.
This says Todd Phillips shot this film as a form of battery charging therapy after the intensity of pressure of filming The Hangover, and then just prior to going Hangover Part 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, yeah. In the film, Ethan talks up his 2.5 Men fan site. The site existed at the time as it's raining2.5men.com. So on the Access Hollywood to promote the film, Robert Downey Jr. said that working on this film was most glorious experience in all of his career.
Wow. Why? I guess it's not something he normally does. So it's just really fun for him because something very different, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we haven't really heard a lot of people talk about their Todd Phillips experiences, but maybe he's just
Great guy.
really good. Yeah, really good director.
Said the screenplay for this film was featured in the 2009 Blacklist as a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. The Wilhelm scream.
Yep.
Was when one of the crew workers jumping out of the way when
I heard
Peter and Ethan drive the Subaru off the bridge. Says there's a shot of a road sign reading Dallas 36 miles with the mountains in the background. And there are no mountains within hundreds of miles of Dallas, Texas.
That's good trivia.
So it says this film had plot points very similar to the Martin and Lewis picture Hollywood or Bust from 1956. Martin and Downey play like-minded characters forced to drive across country to Los Angeles like clumsy idiot, played by Lewis or Galifianakis, both referred to as Hollywood, and his dog in a red car. So there's another.
Okay. I've never heard of that one.
Neither. I've never. Director's trademark. A white French bulldog appears in this film and The Hangover, but is not the same dog.
So just something that the director puts in all of his movies. Director's trademark. But only in those two? He didn't put him in anything else so
Guess
far?
not. Yeah.
Well, maybe after this, but Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah. Cool. So next up, what are your final thoughts on this?
No.
Worth a watch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wouldn't watch it ever and ever, but
No, it's not as like, and that makes sense because you don't really hear people like me like, oh, due date. Like this isn't like, but it's not bad either. Like I said, it's pretty fun type of movie. Yeah, you're not gonna get to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles heights, but
no.
I don't think anyone will ever.
Cool. Hangover 2.
Yeah, I believe 2 and 3 are back to back, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I've seen 3. 2 I know I've seen, but only once.
Well, this will be interesting
So
because
I don't remember this. Or don't remember the film. And
yeah, I know. I remember very little of Hangover 2, and same with 3. I know I've seen both, but it was not watched a bunch like the first one, which I imagine that's probably a lot of people's experience with these.
Yeah.
Because watching 2 and 3, you watch one, and you're like, oh, you're a little let down, and like this is not as good.
Yep.
Especially 3, which that one I'm really interested in because that one I don't.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't even know if I've seen it. I don't
Well,
think
that
I
would
did.
be cool if you haven't seen it.
So I'm like, yeah. Yeah,
I
curious.
heard it gets pretty bad though, at
Curious.
least from
Curious as a cat.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what were your guys' thoughts? If you had thoughts on casting a updated version of this kind of film, present day.
This might be a classic for some people though. Due date,
maybe. Yeah, let us know. Leave a comment, write in. You can send us an email at feedback@screentimepod.com. Also, if you would, please like and subscribe and share and tell your friends, or don't tell them. I don't know. Keep it our own little secret.
No, definitely tell them.
Oh yeah, tell them. Okay.
Yeah.
It could be our own little secret. The best podcast in the world that no one knows about.
It's not the greatest thing you should do a podcast. Just keep it to yourself.
Also, if you'd like to follow either one of us on Instagram, you can follow me at jyoungbar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
All right. We will catch you guys next time.